What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to 5 American things British people secretly envy. I've been sitting here thinking about this. What does your average British person envy about the US? The reason I say average British person is because obviously not everyone is going to like the same things. Not everyone is going to envy the same things, but I'm thinking that they're probably coming at this from the perspective of your average British person. You know, if I was a British person looking into the US, I think one of the things that I would really appreciate about the US is just because of the size of the US, we just have an amazing amount of land. And so our population density is much lower. As someone who generally likes to have a bit of space, who wants to, hopefully own a decent bit of land one day so I can do some homesteading or whatnot, I feel like it's probably much easier to come across, 5, 10, 15, 20 acres of land at a much lower price here in the US. Obviously not in all areas. Some areas, specifically the areas I wish I could live in, the prices of land are a little bit more expensive because so many people have moved into these areas. But truth be told, if you just want to buy some land in the US, I think it's probably cheaper. And, also, the fact to go along with that is the fact because we have so much land here and because we've had, luckily had some politicians, presidents, whatnot over the past decades and centuries even choose to set aside so much land for national parks, state parks, and nature conservation areas. We now have just a ton of places we can hike, explore, and things like that. Now, obviously, you guys in the UK do have some amazing, beautiful places, national parks, and things like that. But just because we have so much land here, we just automatically have a lot more, places to choose from for those purposes of both buying land cheap and or places you might want to live in different climates or, just different places to explore. That said, I've seen a lot of beautiful areas in the UK so far, and I definitely look forward to continue to learn about some of these places in the UK. So anyways, guys, enough rambling from me. Let's go ahead and dive in and check out 5 American things British people secretly envy.
So this list has been put together by BBC America.
Yeah, one of our favourite websites.
We absolutely love these guys.
Yeah.
We'd love to work with them if they're watching.
I know, please. BBC America.
Hire us.
It's the perfect collab between something very British and America.
Something very American.
Yeah.
So the first one, which I really, really enjoy, and we've spoken a bit about before, is confidence.
Yeah, honestly, Americans have so much more confidence than Brits.
We do?
It's just the confidence to I know we've said in the past it's so annoying when they strike up a conversation.
Yeah.
But really, the confidence it must take to just sort of be like, yeah, hi, how are you? Let's chat. It is admirable when you think about it.
Just because I hate the fact that they do that and lots of Brits do, doesn't mean that I don't want to be like that. I think partly you hate it because you're like, oh, I wish I could be like that.
Yeah,
But I naturally don't want to talk to a stranger.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, I wish I did want to talk to strangers.
Yeah,
you know
which is like the majority of British people.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to engage
in any conversation.
I don't want to engage. Do you know what's actually really funny? I had a really British thought as I was blow drying my hair today. I thought if hair dryers were silent, hairdressers would have to talk to you more, and that would pain them.
Ooh, yeah.
Because British hairdressers, because they don't necessarily want to chat.
Really?
Some do, but the majority are just like, great, now the blow dryer bit, I don't have to talk.
So that's definitely something that goes on in the US. When you go to a barber or a hairdresser, as a woman, you would go to a hairdresser. Man, you would usually go to a barber. It's a known thing that you're probably going to have some sort of in-depth conversation, almost like you're talking to a friend or something. That's generally like a lot of people look at their hairdressers as therapists. And I think a lot of hairdressers actually take on that role in the US in some ways. But let me go, guys. Is she accurate on that? Do you guys just, when you go to a barber or to a hairdresser, you don't really have much of a conversation with them?
Yeah, I know, with my hairdresser, we chat for a bit, watch the film cut.
Okay, so you do chat a little bit.
Comes on, we both know it's peace and quiet time now.
Yeah, because otherwise you're shouting, trying to get
exactly.
over it.
Well, lip reading through the mirror, so you can see their lips and they can see you.
There's just no point. So I've got a theory of why Americans are more confident than Brits, especially at making friends.
Their childhood.
No, but way back when.
Yeah. Oh.
So when Americans were Spanish or British or whatever, they arrived at Plymouth Rock or whatever it was called, and they were like, "Oi, you, be friends with me," because they had no choice. They don't have any family or friends.
Yeah.
So like a Spanish person might have bumped into like a Native American, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to be friends?"
Yo,
and
you want to
might
be friends?
Like, maybe. And then they just like get used to talking to people.
Okay.
And then because it's like a nation of immigrants from other countries all coming into America, they had to talk to each other.
Yeah, it was like survival.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like the
and they had to like trade things.
Yeah.
And they had to talk to people. Whereas Brits have just always been.
Yeah, they
pretty much.
They would just, you know, come out the womb. They knew they were going to be okay.
Yeah. And you know what? Brits are quite classist. So it's like, I'm not going to speak to you because you're from a different social class. Whereas in America, that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
They'll happily talk to anyone.
Yeah, the UK is a bit messed up like that. Like, there's nowhere quite like it that is so obsessed with the class system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very good theory. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know
in the comments.
In the comments.
All right, so they touched on a few things there, and one is the class system that you guys supposedly have in the UK. I've actually heard that before. Never looked into it. Definitely something I want to explore at some point. I got to find a good video or so to learn about that, because they're right. You know, we don't have that in the US really. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, some people are what you would say poor class. I don't even know what the word for poor people or whatever is what they would call that. Low income, and then you have middle class, and you have I don't know, high earners, upper class. I mean, I guess that's the way we would describe that. But there is no general like looking at people differently because of that. Mostly for most people, some people are just, you know, really stuck up that they're wealthy and they look down on people. But your average person doesn't see, you know, like if you're in the middle class, you don't see poor people as different. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if that is the way that people look at class in the UK. I'll have to learn about that. But one thing that he brought up there was that he thinks that because U.S. is supposedly more confident, people in the U.S. are supposedly more confident, is because I guess our ancestors had to meet at Plymouth Rock or meet with different cultures or whatever. And I honestly don't think that's the case, because these people would have been speaking different languages. I don't think that's why, if we are confident, I don't think that's why we are more confident. I think it probably has something to do with more of the media, more of schooling, or something along that lines. I don't know. I mean, I know that you guys in the UK tend to, or at least used to, I don't know about now, but you had like school uniforms and things like that. And I don't know for sure, but I'm under the impression that as a kid, teachers were much more strict, and you were more, I don't know, taught to keep in line and weren't allowed to be as individualistic in school and stuff as a kid. And I feel like my impression is that there were more rules. And in the U.S., we tend to not have as many rules around school about really anything, even down to like dining etiquette and stuff. And so I feel like maybe because we don't have as many rules, if that is true, that may lead to us being a little bit more open, because you're not necessarily waiting to speak. You're not, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. Whether you think that's good or bad is a different story. It's just, I think that might lead to those personality differences in a way, but not really sure. Don't really even know how true that is. I never really thought of myself as necessarily more confident than people in the UK. I don't think I'm, you know, overly. I think I'm confident enough, but I don't think I'm like overly confident. And I don't know if that's really confidence so much as it's just this is a habit for some people to, you know, reach out and speak to strangers more often than other people do. But let me know your opinion in the comments, guys. Do you think you guys in the UK are less confident, or at the very least, do you think you speak to people or speak to strangers less often than we do in the US? Let me know, guys.
Okay, so the next one, which I think we all kind of forget about, is music and like America's contribution to music. Like, they brought in so many genres, and without that, what would music be today? It's crazy to think. Like, you've got
Boy, before she goes on, when I think of music, guys, and I think of like the leaders of modern music, I generally think British music. I mean, you guys, you know, really, I think you guys had so many of the classic rock bands, you know, especially, and those classic rock bands led to so much of our modern music, not just in rock, but in country as well. A lot of country singers got their start from these classic rock bands. A lot of them coming from British influence. Now, when she says the U.S., I do believe that maybe jazz. One, obviously, our country music is different from probably what you would find in the UK. I'm not 100% sure about that. This is a topic I haven't really explored yet, you know, British music, but I do know of quite a few of our popular bands were from the UK. Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin are two that just, Queen is another, right? I'm sure there's so many. If I sat here and thought about them, I probably could, come up with quite a few.
You've got jazz music.
Yeah.
Old school jazz musicians.
Country music.
Country would not be
country.
here if it wasn't for country music, obviously from America.
That's true, I guess.
Blues, rock and roll. I don't know. I guess that's rock and roll. Well, hang on. Elvis is from the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it all came from there.
Yeah, he gave birth to rock and roll.
So what did we have before that?
I don't
Classical.
really know.
You had classic rock bands, dude.
Did you watch that musical, Beautiful, the Carole King musical on the West
I don't
End?
watch musicals.
I took my grandma to go and see it, and it was really crazy because obviously you've got all of these like American singer-songwriters way back when Carole King started writing for like Aretha Franklin, people like that.
Is she American?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they were all these incredible like genres coming in with the influence of like African Americans and stuff like that. And like before that, music was so boring. Like they had scenes in the play where like what was being played on the radio before these people were coming in and being accepted. Like when there was such a divide between black and white people,
I mean,
their music was coming in and like white people wanted to dance to it. And, like white people wanted to embrace this music, but it was still seen as like, oh my gosh, like it was still a big divide. And it was a really interesting musical. If it's ever on near you, definitely go see it because I thought it was really interesting.
I want to see it because I like all the music that was featured in it. I remember seeing a trailer for it on the plane.
Yeah.
And it seemed really cool.
Yeah.
But
and like everyone in the audience was like, "You make me feel like
oh no, that's why I hate musicals because people sing in the audience.
Yeah.
You're like, I've come to hear them sing. Stop singing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, who sings this?
Did you sing?
No,
Did you?
I just
Be honest.
I sat humming it. You make me feel. And it was so good.
You're dead to me.
I'm not.
How does this channel work if that happens?
I'm dead to you.
You're dead to me. I'm not talking to you except in videos. Alright.
So yeah, it says here on the website, they are the genesis of all modern music, without which there would be very little worth dancing to in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Brits have taken that and do make good music now, but we forget that it's come from America, and we need to thank America for bringing us such good music.
Yeah, like my grandma always says, if it wasn't for Elvis Presley, like rock and roll would never be what it is.
Oh, get what you're saying. Okay.
Like rock and roll, pop rock. Anyway,
I guess it was rock and roll back then, but now listening to Elvis, we'd be like, oh, it's just cheesy pop.
Yeah, we probably label it so differently.
Yeah. Right. Okay,
well, I guess at first I was like, I don't see that, but then I guess they're right in a way. You know, Elvis Presley, for example, he did lead to modern rock in a lot of ways, and I'm sure some British bands that came along in the 60s, 70s probably got some influence from him. But I think this is one that I think the US and the UK have fed off each other. Going back and forth with new styles of music and whatnot. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with actually learning about British music. I just know that, somehow in my head, I know of certain bands that I know for a fact are from the UK, and there's they were some killer bands. They were very, very popular here in the US. And honestly, I'm not even sure if those bands were popular in the UK. I just know they were popular here in the US. My dad, for instance, he had a huge music collection, and I know a lot of those bands were from the UK. But, they make a good point. I think that there are probably certain influences from music in the U.S., especially in the earlier 1900s, before 1950 specifically, that probably did feed British music to a certain extent. But I think that, like I said, it's going back and forth. I think that the U.S. musicians have fed off of British musicians as well at different points in time, I think a lot of the bands that came along in the, say, 70s and 80s here in the U.S. were probably feeding off the bands that were around in the 60s that started in Britain. So, but who knows, guys? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Let's go ahead and continue.
Okay, the next one that Brits are secretly envious of is Hollywood.
No.
It's just the glitz and glam of it.
I know.
I mean, okay, let's like withdraw our opinions of like when we went to LA and we thought Hollywood was a bit of a dive.
Yeah, apart from that.
It is.
A bit of a shithole.
Yeah.
It's just the culture, and like it might not even technically exist, like the Hollywood bubble,
yes,
or the Hollywood dream. We don't have a thing like. There's no area in the UK apart from like London, and London's a city that's like a thing. You don't get like, you would never say, oh, they're a London actor, but you would say they're a Hollywood actor.
They're a Hollywood actor.
We don't have our own thing.
We don't.
No.
It's like, oh, that film was shot at Pinewood or Elm Street in like outside of London and stuff like that. But Hollywood, it's like the film industry's there, TV, Hollywood actors, the Hollywood bubble.
Yeah.
It's also like
glam.
No.
And we just don't have any equivalent of that.
No.
So,
and it's a really nice aspiration to have when you're a kid and you grow up and you want to be an actor like we did, to have something that's like the pinnacle of your career to aim for, to be like, I want to be in Hollywood.
Exactly.
And I want to be doing that. I mean, it's not necessarily my dream anymore, but as a kid, that was what I wanted, and it was nice to like have something to be like, I want to go there.
I want to go there, and like I want to collect an Oscar award.
Yeah.
Like we don't have the Academy Awards here.
No, we have BAFTAs.
We've got BAFTAs, but people are like, I mean,
BAFTAs are like one step under Academy Awards, aren't they? Like, they're not supposed to be. I think BAFTA is like a really great, prestigious award to get.
And you've got a BAFTA, amazing. But
to be honest,
you've got an Oscar.
That's more my dream now, is to have a BAFTA one day rather than an Oscar. Because I think maybe it's because it's more realistic. And also because I'd like to do something good in my own country that other Brits are like, well done.
Well done, you got a BAFTA.
Yeah, rather than just like going, nah, sack off the BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs.
Sack off the BAFTAs, I want an Oscar.
Really?
Well, I would like an Oscar,
It'd be
but it's not going
amazing to have an Oscar. You never know, Joel. You just never know.
Yeah,
like,
it's so true.
I think it's more likely for us to get an Oscar than it would be to get a BAFTA.
It's so true, because Brits hate us, guys. So
that's another video. So number 4.
Okay, so I completely disagree on this one. Well, I can't disagree with what someone else envies, but I cannot stand Hollywood. Don't like anything about Hollywood. Don't generally like the movies that come out of Hollywood. I more like independent films that are probably filmed in North Carolina or whatnot. Much, much better. I don't like the whole Hollywood culture. It's so fake and phony. And like they said here, guys, if you think that Hollywood is all glitzy and glamorous and stuff like this, oh, LA is so wonderful. Hollywood is it's where the stars are, and it's just so amazing. Go there and you'll see it's just gross. The streets are nasty. There's nothing about Hollywood that is envious, in my opinion. It's just, nah, not my thing. Everybody likes their own thing, but they did make a good point. I can understand, if you have this dream to be an actor or something one day, and you want something to kind of stick on a vision board or something, and you want something to look to kind of motivate you. I suppose that would be the one time I could see Hollywood being envious, is because if you're trying to be an actor and you're trying to become an A-list star or something, then having that Hollywood on your vision board would possibly, motivate you, because, if that's what you're trying to become, you have all these successful actors in one area and stuff like that. So in that way, I could see it. But outside of that, just the regular people like envying the culture, I don't personally get that. But, that's just me. If you do, you boo, and that's fine. But as for me, Hollywood is definitely not my thing. I have no desire to spend any time in Hollywood or LA. Pretty much you could take all of Southern California away from me and I would not care at all, except there's some beautiful mountains, outside, in kind of the west of Southern California. But let's be honest, when people think of Southern California, they generally think of LA and Hollywood and whatnot. And that is definitely not where I want to go. But enough rambling about that. Let's continue.
Or is superheroes.
Superheroes.
I hate superheroes, so I don't know. I'm as a Brit,
Thank
I'm
you.
not envious.
I don't like them
watch
either.
any Marvel films.
Me neither.
I don't watch anything
No.
to do with
Yeah.
wars in space.
Yeah.
No.
I think
Or
for a lot
anything.
of kids growing up, like they're all the superheroes that
No,
they
yeah.
aspired to, Batman, Superman, who else?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, all stemmed from the
Really?
US, right? I'm pretty sure they
Don't
did.
know.
I don't think I don't remember any Spider-Man film being. Hang on, the actor that plays Spider. No, he's American. Like they're all Americans.
Tom Holland is British, isn't he?
I think he does an American accent in it,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah, oh, so it is American.
So they're all American
Clark
superheroes.
Kent, Superman. I did
Yeah.
used to like that. I used to watch the
Did you?
TV series Superman when
Did
I was
you?
a kid with all my family.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Like kids in the UK have got like pajamas with like superheroes on them, and like
Yeah.
what superheroes have we really got that were born here? Not.
I
don't. I can't
apart from
think
the Queen,
of any.
I can't think of
the
any.
Queen is our superhero.
She's our
isn't she?
superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate and Will's.
Yeah.
Superhero couple.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. And the most modern one is The Incredibles.
The
family,
Incredibles. Yeah, The
family,
Incredibles.
Yeah.
So it says, yeah, we've got V for Vendetta and Watchmen, but what the hell? Who
I
are they?
don't even know
Who
what
are they? I'm reading out some of the British ones. Dan Dare, boring, never heard of him. Judge Dredd, never heard
What?
of him.
I've heard of that.
Not
I don't know
seen-
why.
Yeah,
No.
we don't. We
It
Judge
haven't
does not
Dredd.
compare to the US
Captain
superheroes.
America and stuff like that. So yeah, I think for young people who like carry on watching comics as they get older, this is quite a big one for
Yeah,
them.
they love it. The nerds love it.
The nerds love it. It says here, the sole exception to this is that we had Dennis the Menace and he was tons better than yours.
Oh my gosh, Dennis the Menace
You
is
did?
amazing.
Interesting.
Oh, so do they
Didn't know
have
that.
their own version of Dennis the Menace?
I guess so, because it says tons better than yours.
Oh wow.
So I'd love to see what the American Dennis the Menace looks
Yeah.
I
like.
didn't know you guys had a Dennis the
Ours
Menace, and
was,
it came from there.
amazing.
Who knew? I used to watch that
read
when I
those
was a
comic
kid.
books all the time. Dennis
Yeah.
the Menace, the Beano.
Beano.
Yeah,
Beano
or the Dandy as well. That was good.
Like I feel like from watching like American TV growing up, like comic books were quite a big thing. Like
Yeah.
kids would have comic books, trading comic books. There'd always be a scene of like kids going to comic book stores.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
We never got that. We just get the Beano from the news
News agents. Yeah. That was it.
We
There
do
was
penny
one-
sweets.
There were, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
One comic book mag.
Wow, we're old.
We are so old.
Like, not compared to our audience, but still. No, but I feel like, you know, when you just hear yourself and you're like, I'm
We've
turning
walked
into
to the
that
news
person who will turn to a little child and be like, I used to get a comic book from the news agents with penny sweets. And they're like,
Yeah,
shut up.
And you're like, I remember when a chocolate bar was 5p.
Yeah, they're like, I don't care.
I don't care. They're like, what is money?
Yeah.
I only know plastic.
Yeah, they're like, contact lens.
Money will be gone soon.
Yeah, oh, I can't wait for money to be gone.
Really?
No.
No one needs it, it's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
Just
isn't
use
it?
your card.
Just use your card.
No.
Cash will go.
Yeah, cashless society.
No,
that's the
guys,
dream.
no.
Yeah,
Don't go
we will
cashless.
eventually say to our kids, like,
Yeah.
there was this thing once. Like,
I know it probably will eventually.
Cash. We'll show them our video
Yeah.
on money. We've got a video on
British Money Explained.
Explained. And one day we'll have to just say to people like these like bits of
Yeah.
coins were what we used to.
And they'll be like, wait,
What?
you all like swapped
Carry
coins and they all had germs on them because they were touched by so many people.
Oh,
And be like,
come
yeah.
on.
And that's why we got ill.
We've done that forever.
We never knew who'd touched them.
No.
It's fine.
And you never cleaned them.
They,
You
who
just
cleaned
took
them? They
them.
never got cleaned.
It's disgusting.
Who got-
Money is disgusting if you think about it.
What? Like the germs on
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
the germs- think how many hands they go into in their lifetime. It is disgusting.
Gross. There's nothing more unhygienic.
No, nothing
than
more.
money.
Because you will touch the money, not think about it, and then go and eat a sandwich or something.
I can't
Disgusting.
deal, John.
No,
I can't deal.
cashless all the way.
Cashless society. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. On that one, before we talk about the superheroes, I just want to say I absolutely do not look forward to a cashless society. Granted, I'm not someone who's always using cash, but I do like the idea of cash because, you know, soon as you go cashless, you know, you have a record of everything you've ever purchased. And I know on the surface you can be like, well, why does that matter? I'm not purchasing anything bad. But it's just the point. It's just the fact that it's another way that the government can intrude into your life. And even though I think most of us probably do not really use cash that much anymore, is still the fact that you have that option. And I think people should have that option available. You know, it's just like it I don't know. There's something about it that's just, it's more, I don't want to say intimate, but it's just more human. It's just handing someone a specific amount of money versus swiping. You know, think of like when you go and, you know, I don't know, a kid is putting on a lemonade stand, for example, and you want to go and support this kid. You know, one day they're just going to have card swipers probably, or something like that, or you're going to tap their phone or whatever. But I like the idea of being able to go and hand them a dollar bill, or hand them, you know, 2 quarters for 50 cents if their lemonade's that price. And the lemonade stand is just an example of that. I like the idea of that human interaction. And I'm not concerned about germs on money. I mean, we've literally used, you know, paper and coin currency forever. And so it's not really something that bothers me personally, but, you know, maybe it does you. But here's the thing. You don't have to use cash if you are, you know, you don't particularly like touching currency. But I still believe that it's great to have that access for many different reasons, you know. But as for the superheroes, guys, personally, I really don't particularly care about superheroes. Not really my thing. But when he brought up children, I can see that. You know, as a kid, I think a lot of kids, especially boys, it seems like more than girls. Although we did have some girl comics and girl superheroes, but for the most part, most of them seem to be boys. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and so forth. You did have like Catwoman, and you had I don't know if there was Superwoman or not, but anyways, guys. So I think that that's a big deal for kids, I believe. So I'm not really sure about all the superheroes that may be in the UK, but in the US, obviously, we definitely have a bunch of them. You know, as an adult, not really my thing, but yeah, as a kid, I can see that being a big deal. So let me know, guys, do you feel like UK is lacking in the superhero department versus the US? Because off the top of my head, they said, what was it, Judge Dredd? I don't know who that is. I don't know what superhero that is, but I've heard that name. So that is the only name that I would know of that may come out of the UK, unless someone tells me some others. I said Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace is obviously not a superhero, but I had no idea that he came out of the UK, guys. I thought that was a US, you know, it was a cartoon, but then they made it into a TV show and a movie, or I don't know if it was the TV show first, but either way, we had that as a kid. I enjoyed watching Dennis the Menace, but let's go ahead and continue.
The last one is an emotion. It's sincerity.
Sincerity.
So how sincere Americans are compared to us. So basically just non-sarcastic people.
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. I think it's amazing that Brits have got sarcasm.
Yeah.
And that the majority of Americans don't, because like we can really use that in our humour. Like British comedy is so sarcastic a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But then Americans just got that really sincere feel, like they're really
feel good,
genuine, wholesome people.
Yeah.
So it says here,
interesting.
This might be the key to the problem of superheroes too. Oh, in any community, it's important to have dreamers, but it's also important to have doers. You need people who can speak to a higher purpose. Like Brits don't do that. They're not motivational speakers.
No.
Not many of them are like speaking with like sincerity.
Oh, that's why when you go on Netflix and you see all the motivational speakers, they're all American. Yeah.
And you watch them and you buy it. Imagine a Brit doing that.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
I'm sure they can. But
they can.
Yeah, just not as
interesting. I had never thought about this.
Like just a Brit person saying, "Good for you." Doesn't sound as good as an American, like, good for you.
And just even the examples we've given before as well of a Brit being like, oh, we must meet up soon. They don't mean it.
Yeah.
If an American was like, oh, we must meet up soon,
So
you'd be
sincere.
like, oh, they mean it.
They mean it, 100%. So, yeah. Speaking in incredibly broad terms, Americans tend to be the people who say, we are all going to come together as one, and if we put our backs to the grindstone and our spines into spasm, one day we can build Stonehenge.
Stonehenge!
Stonehenge! Stonehenge! Stonehenge!
That is the most American sentence I've ever read. It's so dramatic.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes us like chuckle because it's so awkward. It's like we can't say it.
Yeah, but we just wish we could be like that.
I wish I could write a caption that was so sincere.
I know.
But it's not going to come out that way,
It's not
is
going to
it?
be sarcastic.
Sarcastic.
So that's it, guys. Those are the
Interesting.
things that we envy as Brits that you guys have as Americans. Yeah, it's varied. There's some
Yeah.
like abstract things, some more physical
More
things.
actual things, some emotions. Let us know if you're a Brit and you've got any others
Yeah.
in the comments, and vice versa. Like, what qualities do Brits have that Americans envy?
Yeah. We'd love to
Are there
know.
any?
And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. We post videos every single week.
I was about to say thrice weekly,
Thrice
but it's
weekly.
every single week.
Every single week.
We will see you in the next video, guys. Speak to you in the comments.
See you soon.
Bye.
You know, I think they may be onto something with this. I didn't know that's what it may be, but I've had a lot of people when I've did a video about British comedy versus American comedy. One of the things they brought up is that all British comedy is pretty much sarcastic, and I've seen that mentioned in other videos about different things that British people tend to be more sarcastic, and I was sitting there trying to picture that and think, well, is that true? I don't know. I know Americans can be sarcastic from time to time, but when I really think about it, I think that might be accurate because I've had people in the comments say, like, for example, that I didn't get a joke. And it was a British person, making a joke, but I didn't get it because it was so sarcastic. I didn't recognize it. And it is true that, like, we generally, at least I do, I say what I mean for the most part. I mean, it's not that I can't be sarcastic. I can. But I think it's true that, generally speaking, we aren't really raised to be sarcastic, I guess. I mean, I was raised in a way that you basically say what you mean what you say, and you say things with sincerity. And I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're just different. And I think having both in our world is a good thing. There's a time for sincerity and there's time for being sarcastic, and both lead to different types of comedy, both lead to different types of conversation. And so that's all amazing. I think that that one is one that I'd have to look into more, but I think on the surface, I think they might have something to that. Because I do believe that we just don't seem to be as sarcastic as some people are. You go to New York City, I think you're going to find more sarcastic people than if you do down south. Down south, where I'm from, sarcasm really isn't much of a thing, to be honest. And so it is true that some British humor may go over my head because I'm just not used to that type of communication. But I think over time I'll probably get it. I'll probably understand it. But we generally. If they're using the word sincere to basically mean that you're kind of saying what you mean, so to speak, then that is definitely the way a lot of us were raised, especially in the South of the U.S. Guys, I thought this was a good list. I guess I disagree with some of it. I like their points of view on this list. Like I said, I already went through this, but I had no idea that Americans were necessarily more confident. I don't know. I feel like I'm confident enough, but not overly confident or anything. Music, like I said, I think it goes back and forth. I think the U.S. and the U.K. have fed off each other when it comes to music. I think that they've both come up with great ideas from the opposite side of the pond, so to speak. Hollywood, no. There is nothing to envy there. Unless you're an actor, an aspiring actor or an actress that needs something to put on a vision board, that's all there is to envy about Hollywood. There is nothing. They, generally speaking, to me at least, personally, I feel like the movies are overplayed. I don't think they make that great of movies. I feel like independent films are much better. I think Hollywood back in the day maybe have made some good movies, but I think the movies that come out of Hollywood today are trash. Pure trash. I don't recommend any of them. I'm not saying I never would recommend any of them going forward. I would look on an individual basis, but for the most part, I'm constantly seeing what's coming out in theaters, and it's like, it's just nothing that motivates me to go see a movie from Hollywood. Every time I want to see a movie, it's an independent film that usually comes straight out onto a platform of, Hulu or something. But, Yeah, Hollywood, you guys can have it if you want it. I don't know why you'd want it, but yeah, you can have Hollywood and everything that comes along with it. Because I personally I do not want it at all. Please take them away from us and never give them back again. I hope that I would love to like turn Hollywood and the LA scene into a big park or something that's actually useful. But yeah, I'm a little harsh there because I don't like Hollywood. No. But you know what? If you like Hollywood, that's fine. This is just my personal thing. I'm not coming up against someone who, likes Hollywood. That's your thing. You go, you do it, man. That's just definitely not my thing. We all have our own things, and yeah, I've rambled enough on Hollywood. I think you can tell how much I don't like Hollywood. But superheroes, like I said, for kids, I can see it being a big deal. But yeah, and sincerity, I'm trying to figure that one out in my head, and maybe, but all in all, I'm not really sure. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others, and don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Till next time, guys, peace.